Welcome to Sochi. Welcome to Sochi in Russia. I'm Nick Wealthall, and you're watching live coverage with a slight delay of the 888 Poker live event from here in Sochi. Glorious Sochi. It's beautiful today. Lovely sunshine. Not inside the poker room. That would be ridiculous. But I'm sure most of these players would rather be in than out, because you're watching day 2 of our main event. And we are playing towards the money right now. We'll give you coverage from here till the end. And it's a big event. We've got $500,000 in the prize pool. Something like 80K will be awarded to first place. And today we're going to do an amuse-bouche for you, a little taster. This is sort of the end levels of today. I think we're going to watch 3 levels today on the stream, and then plenty of coverage for you tomorrow. We'll try and get you some high roller coverage as well. And then the final table will be day 3 of our stream in a couple of days' time. And I will do my best to identify some of these players for you. I'll also do my best to massacre their names as an English speaker, doing a lot of Ukrainian and Russian names. I get my apologies in now and regularly between right now and the end of stream. Chineyev is going to be pretty happy with that flop. Now, a couple of other things to tell you about. First of all, the most important, we do have a free roll today in a couple of hours' time, 8 o'clock GMT. So if you're here in Sochi, it's going to be 10 o'clock. And that is free money, folks. Your chance to play poker for no money down and no further payments. Free money. You just go to 888 Poker, obviously, download the client if you don't have it already. It's under the restricted tournaments tab. It's the 888 Poker live daily free roll. The password is 888 Poker. Pretty long production meeting about that one. 888 Poker is the password. And it's your shot. Free money starts in about 2 hours. I'll give you plenty more shouts before we get there. In shot, having a stretch is a very famous face. Michael the Grinder Mizraki, really excited to have him in Sochi playing the main, and fresh off yet another bracelet victory in Vegas. I think number 5 for the Grinder, so one of the best tournament players in tournament history. Amazing record that he has, and we get to watch him play some Hold'em today, which is pretty fun. More housekeeping notes. In terms of the chips, so that you can get a bit of clarity over what you're watching, the blue chips are 5K chips, the yellow chips are 1K chips. There are a few purple chips which are 500, and the chip everybody wants, you've guessed it, the red chip, 25,000. There are just a few of them in circulation so far. You can see we've got approximately 145 players left out of a starting field of 569. I'll get you some exact payouts later on, but I think we're paying for about $82,000 for first. And we're playing, we'll hit the money, let me just check. We'll hit the money at around 80. I think it's 80 we hit the money. I don't think we'll get there today. I think that will be early tomorrow, but we'll see. Mizraki in the catbird seat here in the big blind with a better kicker than Korochensky. Now, Korochensky is a known player, I believe. So you'd expect him to play this pretty well. He's not going to massively overvalue his ace 8. Check back call on the flop. And Korochensky thinks he can get at least 2 streets of value here. I mean, this is everything you want to happen when you call with ace-jack out of the big blind, isn't it? Not only do you hit, but you also get somebody firing at you. And this is interesting from Grinder. He's going to bet like he missed a draw, or like he was just calling to bluff or something like that, and going to try and get paid. He figures quite rightly that Korochenskaya is going to check this down a lot of the time. He also figures quite rightly he's ahead of his range. And I think this is where having Grinder's image really, really helps a lot. Like, he has an image of someone that likes to bluff. It's not an image, is it? He does like to bluff. And he does get paid. Not a big bet, but those are the bets that count and help you build your stack. And Korochenskaya's irritated. I suspect he's not too fussed about how the hand went down. He's just probably slightly irritated that the dealer put that flop out there. Don't hit both our aces, please, for future reference. Yeah, Anatoly Korochenskaya has over $250,000 in live cashes. So an experienced live tournament player. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Grinder wins the who's got the most experience battle, but Korochenskaya certainly has played his fair share of live tournaments. As I briefly mentioned at the top of stream, you couldn't have picked a nicer venue. I have never been to Sochi before. I've been to Russia once before. As a kid, it hasn't changed at all. Okay, it has changed. But Sochi was an amazing surprise. The drive-in is fantastic through mountains, and they're all forested. Lots of really cool bridges and tunnels and stuff. Well, I like bridges and tunnels. And both equally. Thanks for asking. And the town in Sochi is in a kind of valley just surrounded by forested trees. It's really, really cool. Do come here if you get the chance. The casino is really plush. Really, really nice place for a poker tournament. We've got a button raise with the old Jack-3 offsuit. And Pishwin. I'm just laughing because somebody told me how to pronounce his name and it's flown out of my head. So now I'm going to get it wrong. Pishwin? Pishuin. Pishuin. That sounds more manly, doesn't it? Pishuin. He's going to call. He's going to call and hit top pair. This is big blind is hot. You're going to want to play your big blind right now. You will flop top pair. And when you raise with the Jack-3 offsuit, it's hard to hit the flop in a way that you like. So I guess firing a lot of flops is pretty standard here. For Chineyev, he does not have much showdown equity to go with. Now we can see, of course, that Pursuing is a million miles in front, but he'll try and work out exactly how to get paid. And he decides to raise. You don't see this a lot, especially big blind button. You see a lot more check calling because obviously the standard thinking would be, well, my opponent probably doesn't have too much. He's got a super wide range on the button. I'll let him fire again. But Pursuing decides to take the more aggressive line, which is obviously fine. Like I said, he's miles ahead. That's what they're playing at our featured table. 14 big blinds all the way up to 83 bigs. Cherniak is your chip leader. The grinder with a very healthy 60 big blind stack. Playing 2K, 4K and 4K big blind ante. And if you haven't watched one of our streams before or you haven't played one of these tournaments before, big blind ante just means that the big blind pays the ante. The clue was in the name all along. So this just speeds up the live game. It makes it that much quicker, which is great if you are playing live. Okay, all together, let's do the surname. Stekolshikov. Easy. Stekolshikov. Just looks intimidating. Really pretty hand, and about 15 big blinds for Stekolshikov. And in goes the money. And he might get action here from Konovalov. Again, we've just dropped in on this feature table, so absolutely no idea how these guys have been playing. It's slightly annoying for Stekolshikov that he's got... I mean, it's not annoying to get dealt a big hand when you're short stacked, obviously. But on the button would be better, because it does look like a strong hand. You know, there aren't... It's unlikely that he's suddenly decided to shove 10-8 offsuit under the gun with 15 big blinds. But it looks like he'll get action here. And Konovalov does call. And they need a name for this in live poker. What this is called is, this is the feel sad that I've actually got dealt a hand with some value and still can't play it pause. That's what this is called. It needs a pithier name. But it's the, I've got a pair of fives, I've sat here for hours, nothing's happened, my stack's small, and I still can't play. He does get to fold. And we'll see a showdown, and Stekolshikov is going to be very happy with life right now. About as good as you could possibly wish for with 15 big blinds. You're not a favourite to win the tournament right now, so what you want is a big hand and a worse hand to call you. And that's exactly what he's got. 5 would chop it up here. 10 would be a disaster for Stekolshikov, but no, he doubles through and takes a nice pot, makes a huge difference. Stekolshikov does have a good track record in live tournaments. Roughly 130,000 of live tournament cashes that we know about. Did very well in the Sochi Poker Festival here in June. With 3 caches. And yes, I do know all of the history of all of these players. I'm not reading it off the internet. I'm all over it, don't worry. You can see on the screen behind the feature table some of our upcoming events here at 888, and we've got a fantastic autumn schedule. Very soon after this, only about 3 weeks after this, we're in Portugal for the WPT Deep Stacks, sponsored by 888 Poker. That's at Casino Vila Moura. I hope you can be there. I think we will have a stream from there. I think David Tuckman, who sadly is not with me today, I think he'll be there in Portugal. And then the Battle of Malta, about a month later in October. Malta, my second country. And if we don't have a stream there, I'll probably play it, because Malta is awesome, and you should too. That's a great event. Over €1 million in the prize pool for just a $555 buy-in. Really fantastic value. And online in between the two in September, the XL Eclipse series on 888 with a 500k guaranteed main event. So we are going to keep you busy this autumn. Tons of value and lots of exciting poker to play. All of it accessible with 888. And if you want to start very soon, in just a couple of hours, our free rolls happening on the site. 8 o'clock GMT for that, and the password is 888poker. Let's get back to the action where Chernaev is all in. And it looks like he's going to get this through to the big blind. Stekolshikov doesn't think too long about ace-7. Some respect for Chernaev's shove. I think in a little bit I'm going to be joined by 888 Poker's newest ambassador, Daria Feschenko, will be here. So that's going to be really fun. You'll get to meet her and find out about the Russian poker scene from her. Scarlet D online. I have absolutely no idea why. I'll find out by literally asking her. Actually, I do know why. I'm just kind of saving it for you because I don't want to say all the things. An excellent player. She plays high stakes cash and tournaments. So we'll have a chat with her and find out about her joining the 888 team when she joins us on stream. Kings for Detchev. Makes it 25k, which is a big old raise. It says here in my poker terminology handbook, a big old raise. We're playing 2-4, so that's the 6x raise. You want to see as kings, you're going to pay for the privilege. Korochenko has a playable hand, but only 25 big blinds in this stack. I'll just translate for you. Stokoshkov wants to know why you made it so much. Absolutely unbelievable. 6x is crazy. That's what he said. And if you don't think that's what he said, prove me wrong. Batchev is our short stack with 12 big blinds, all the way up to Cherniak with 83. And we haven't seen him in action yet, but Michael the Grinder Mizraki in the one seat, bottom left of your picture, sitting pretty with 60 big blinds. And just a reminder, we've got 145 left. That's in the top right. That's always an approximation of how many players we have left in the event. We'll do our best to keep it updated. They will hit the money around about 80 players left. Looks like we're going to be multi-way here. First chance to watch Mizraki dance the felt. That's not a phrase. And it is with a 3-bet. And Chinev calls the 3-bet with not much room to work with. Don't like the call here. But it is a stop and go kind of situation. I guess it's, I'll call the 3-bet, I'll see if I like the flop, and I'll put the money in.
Jack 10 club. I had Jack. Club? I have Jack, but Jack 10 is not on high, it's Jack high. I say here, Jack. Он говорит 10 high выкинул, а тебя, говорит, положил минимум на это high. Крести. Створил мало всего. Пропал? Угадал? Я же сказал, мне пора было.
On we go, and Chineyev, who won the last pot, clearly likes to be in action. He's going to limp in with the 7-6 offsuit. It doesn't have a ton of chips to back it up, but doesn't seem to care, and he's going to get isolated here by Pichuin, we decided, Nick, Pichuin. He makes it 12k. That'll get rid of the short stack. Bachaev, who would have loved to have played here. And Dechev has both players covered. And will 3-bet. So I like this play. I mean, it's actually quite a small 3-bet. I'm not so sure about that. I think a bit bigger 3-bet would have been more effective, because I think Pichuin now calls with his entire range and has position on him. Pichuin with ace-queen is actually pretty strong, but he doesn't need to be strong there because he was raising over the limper. So I don't mind Dechev 3-betting the 8s. As it happens, he will probably win this pot here. Not for certain. But he does have a favourable flop, as you can see. Now again, we've only been watching these players for a few minutes, so Pichuin will know more about Dechev than we do. But he decides to fold.
Не, ну это же, я как понял, можно показывать, можно не показывать. Тут важно не показывать, показывать лучше. Верит, не верит. Вот тут уже вопрос.
Обычно одну это интрига. Ты говоришь, любую выбери.
Не, я честно, ну хорошо, я начну показывать, я люблю показывать.
На полчаса?
Где полчаса, чтобы
Ну, обычно полчаса.
Да, полчаса.
Сколько? Две. Что было? Две восьмерки?
Задержка.
Я поэтому говорю, почти 8-2. Только не... А у тебя что было?
On we go. As I said, you're going to get, I think, 3 hours more or less. We're going to play cover this event until play ends today. So this is just a little taster. We'll get into the meat of the action tomorrow and Thursday, when things will wrap up here in Sochi. Mizraki is not disappointing with the hands he's playing. 6-3 suited out of early position. And he's gonna, he's been called in one spot. And looks like a second call. So Kelshikov and Dechev has called him, have both called him. Cherniak now super priced in. 6-7 to 1, something like that, to call here. But doesn't want to do it. Okay, so we're going to have 3 players, including the grinder, with the powerhouse 6-3 suited. Someone tell him we're not playing low ball. He plays so many different game variants. Hopefully we'll get a chance to have him on commentary, because I don't want to talk to him about the different games that he is expert at. He won his bracelet this summer in high-low split stud, I believe. And Dechev has flopped the world and decides to lead out with a big bet. Not a lot of subtlety here. I have a big hand, I'm bringing the hammer. Enjoy my flop straight, kids.
Flush draw. Backdoor.
No pair.
Just backdoor flush draw.
I'm looking for Royal Flash on this tournament, on TV.
I mean, he made sure he won the pot in emphatic style. Our latest update sees us down to 130 players at the 888 Poker Live Sochi main event.
Какой iPhone? 6?
One of those players just happens to be one of the best in the world, Michael Grinder Mizraki. We do have other 888 Poker pros in the field. I'll try and get you an update on how they're doing.
Может, он просто... Я ему подсказал, он сам не в курсе был, что там iPhone раскидывается. Все посмеялись сначала, потом... Спрашиваешь у дилера, а дают вам какой iPhone?
Action folded round to the cutoff, who is also going to give it up. And Dechev, freshly minted, has a very playable hand on the button, and he's going to raise to 15k. Genev will defend with the fours. Definitely could have shoved there, but decides just to call. Because shove is far better option for him in that position. And now he ends up folding the best hand, which is, as you probably know, the peril of a small pair.
Я вас хочу пугать. Я сейчас немножко стейки чуть-чуть. Четверки были,
Just play horribly after the flop. Very hard to know if you're winning or not.
когда приходит этот человек.
Dechev's on a roll. I think that's the third pot he's won, and we've only been on the air about 20 minutes. The XL Eclipse is coming up next month. Big online series on 888. 34 tournaments, all with affordable buy-ins and big guarantees. The 500k guaranteed main event with a $250 buy-in is on September the 22nd. Put that in your diary. That'll be one not to miss. Korochenskaya with the King Queen. He's going to make it a more conventional 10k, but we're playing big bets and raises at this feature table. Sokolchikov will 3-bet. Dechev's going to call here. Hard to know whether he's calling because, I mean, he has a playable hand, but it's a big 3-bet, so hard to know whether he's calling because he's on fire right now, or if he likes the spot. Positive tilt is a real thing. I suffer from it. I certainly used to suffer from it a lot when I was younger, where you've won 2 or 3 pots in quick succession and you think you can win all the pots. It's Sokolchikov's turn to flop the world. And he'll check after 3-betting. I guess he only has 77k left, so he figures he can get it in at any time. He knows he's never folding here, so decides to slow play. And it looks like a good decision now. So again, maybe this is because he's played with Dechev for a while and he knows that Dechev just likes to fire these big bets, whether he has it or not. But a great situation for Sokolchikov with the short stack. 3-bet, flop the world, check, and have somebody bluff at it for you. In he goes. I mean, Dechev will hate it, but he has to call now. There's 200k in the middle, so he's not going to be happy about this. But he could hit an 8. Sokolchikov could have some kind of draw. You can't fold for 27k, so probably, unless there's a really bad beat, this is going to be a fantastic pot for Sokolchikov. So let's see this one.
It should be very on 1-8 only. Yeah?
Use power of 8. Should be enough.
8.
Calling for an 8, only an 8. Stakashkov fills up. Boats up on the river.
Ну, рядом все было.
Это маркетинг заход был.
And Dechev, one with 8s. Now he loses a big one with 8. Stakashkov, who's a very experienced player, found his opportunity and is stacking chips. You're watching coverage of the 888 Poker live from here in Sochi. I was talking at the start of the stream about just how fantastic this place is. I haven't been before. I've heard about it, obviously, with the Olympics hosting, but didn't realize what a pretty town it is. And I have to tell you, this casino's blown me away. It is a beautiful facility. One of the nicest casinos I've been in anywhere in the world. And they've really put on a great experience for these players. Just a lovely, lovely place to play poker and do anything, actually. You've obviously got the casino here as well, and then a ton of activities to do around the area. It is a major holiday destination, but as a poker destination, I think we'll be seeing a lot more of it. It really is a great place to be. Konovalov with the 9-7 suited and 50 bigs. Perfectly fine to raise that up and mix it up a little bit. We'll see how Chineyev, he likes to be in action, but it's harder when you're short stacked like this. And we saw with the small pocket pair, he doesn't like to bluff.
Принял бы его, да, если бы не 10 тысяч сразу. Не можете отказаться.
126 players left in the main event. I think there is going to be a high roller event, which we might get some coverage from on the stream, possibly tomorrow or our final day. I'm not sure about that. But we will cover the main event for the remainder of the play today. And then a really good chunk of play for you tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a really fun day because we'll see down to the money and in the money. And then the final day will be on Thursday when we'll play down to a winner. So lots of poker for you to watch and enjoy. And they're playing for significant money. We're giving away $1 million at this 888 Live Sochi Festival. And $500,000 of it is in this main event. So serious money. Michael Mizraki, the grinder, is in shot, and he's flat called Dechev. He'll have seen Dechev's play over the last 20 minutes and watched with interest, I'm sure. And he'll be thinking, let me make a hand and make one of those big 50k bluffs into me, please. Three ways to the flop, and a nice flop for Korochenskaya with top pair. Although it's quite a weird flop because most of the time he's winning, but some of the times when you get a lot of chips in, well, most of the time when you get a lot of chips in, you beat. So luckily for him, he only has just over a pot-sized bet left, so there is not too much to think about except for whether to flat call here or just try and get the money in. When I say there's not much to think about, I mean he's never folding. I mean flat calling here. Flat calling here is completely fine because it's not gonna. It's probably not gonna. Like if he's beaten, then he's crushed. So, and he's not deep, so very very reasonable to think, well, Mizrachi's just trying to buy the pot. He might try and buy it again on another street. And cool, but it looks like he's getting chips ready to shove.
Короче, двойка есть. Двойка, если есть, играй.
28, 32 и 12, 44. Попадаю с оппонентом неудобно.
Well, this is a long thing, isn't it? So to recap, it's a single raise pot. Dechev raised 2 callers, and he's flopped a king. Dechev's checked and Mizrachi's bet. And after that big performance, he does decide to move all in. And it's going to take him less time. It's going to take the other 2 players less time to fold than it did for him to do it. I'd guess he's mildly relieved. I mean, some of the time, Mizrachi's flopped a bigger king or Dechev's checked or whatever, so taking it down there is definitely not a bad outcome for him at all. Still playing 2K, 4K here in Sochi. 4K big blind ante. So 10K in the pot before we start, which means that Bachuev, with his 50K, just under, can... well, first of all, he can... any pot he wins is going to be significant. But second of all, he can only sit through 5 more orbits. There he is in shot. And it's that horrible situation where you just have so few options. Easier online, I think, because you can just be clicking fold and maybe you can open up under the table or whatever. Live is very frustrating if you don't get dealt anything and you're just seeing your chips drip away. And you've got to keep your discipline. You've got to remember that having chips at this stage is super valuable, right? He's sort of close to the money and has equity in the tournament, whereas 400 and some odd players or entries don't. So it's hard to keep your discipline, but you must. Mizrachi opens from the cutoff. And he'll get action here from Stoloshchikov. I definitely think I've been getting it wrong. I mean, you know which player I'm talking about. The long-named one, beginning with St. Plenty of equity here for Mizrachi. Open-ended straight draw, backdoor, flush draw, and he doesn't need any of it because he wins with a bet. It is fun to be watching the grinder play. Really excited to have him here. One of the things you'll have noticed already is that he's active. Now, we know this about him. He plays a lot of hands, right? If you know anything about him as a player, you'll know his reputation. But that does a couple of things for him. First of all, it allows him to pick up dead money because he's constantly looking for opportunities to play pots. But also, he has an active image. That means when he gets a hand, he's so much more likely to be paid on that hand. And whereas I think being active and playing more hands is dangerous for a lot of players, not if you're Michael Mizrachi, but for a lot of players, mortals, it is easier to play with that image because you're going to make most of your chips in poker when you have a good hand and somebody has a worse hand and pays you off. That's where most of your chips are going to come from most of the time. Even if you're the best bluffer in the world, that's where most of your chips will come from. So if you've got an image where people are more likely to pay you off, it makes things easier. Now, overall, it's tough to say whether that makes poker easier, because you're going to play more marginal hands, because you're playing, you're going to have second pair more often and have to make harder decisions. But in terms of accumulating chips, it's harder with a tight image, because you're relying on people paying you off when perhaps they shouldn't, a lot more often. Batuev finds a hand to go all in with, and he gets it in good. Oh, he doesn't get it in good. My apologies. I missed the 9 on the flop. He gets it in terrible, but the exact opposite of good. But he gets out of it. You see, that was clearly, I had a premonition that it was going to turn out beautifully for him. It's nice to see he's excited to stay in the tournament. Bit of emotion. He's very excited. Good for him. Finally, a lifeline. And I mean, obviously, the hand played itself. Once he's flopped second pair with an ace kicker, he's got so few chips, he's going to put them in. But well done to me for missing the 9 on the flop. There is a free roll, one of our free rolls, a chance for some free money. And we'll have one every day while we're streaming, today, Wednesday and Thursday. They're going to be at 8 o'clock GMT, which is 10 o'clock Sochi time. And today, the password is 888poker. If you'd like to play, and you should like to play because it's free money. I cannot make it any better value than free. Your chance to win some free bucks. Just hit us up on the restricted tournaments tab. It's the 888poker live daily free roll. The password is 888poker. Different password every day. You have to come back and see me on the stream to get it. Cherniak is our chip leader at this feature table. We haven't seen much of him, but we will now as he 3-bets with jacks. And hello, darling. Korachensky gets aces in a great spot. And will be sad he only has 25 big blinds, but a lot of the time here, he's going to more than double up. That's one of the massive pieces of hidden luck in tournament poker, which is not just what hands you get dealt, but what situations you get dealt those hands in. If you get dealt aces in the big blind and everyone folds, well, that's pretty horrible, right? You get dealt aces if somebody else has jacks, you can win a big pot. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Korachensky move all in here. He has 25 big blinds. Maybe he won't. I suppose it is a pretty big shove, because Detchev just limped, in fact, so it wasn't a 3-bet. It's 30k in the middle. It's a slightly odd situation, because a normal 3-bet here is kind of half his stack, but a shove is also pretty big, so it's quite an odd situation. What would you do? He is going to 3-bet, and he's made it 41,000, which is just under half his stack. So folded around to Cherniak, who knows that his man's not folding, but with pocket jacks, incredibly tough to get away from it. The only way he gets away from this is if he knows, and even then, I was going to say if he knows Korochenskaya never three bets, but even then it's super hard to get away from. And you probably shouldn't this shallow, by the way. If he's got 200 big blinds, maybe things change, but. And Cherniak does move all in. He's going to be quickly called. I can't make a particularly strong argument for doing anything else. Amazing situation for Korochenskaya, obviously, but nearly 20% of the time, the jacks will win. The odds we put on screen, by the way, take account of folded cards, so they're the actual odds in this particular pot. And those odds hold up for Korochenskaya. And he says, if the aces hadn't held up, I would have fought you all. I get extremely punchy when my aces are cracked. But they weren't today, so unlucky for Cherniak. Our chip leader. But he's still going to be fine. He's going to be above average still.
Просто молча болеет.
Тем запрещенный.
Ну, такой по-джентльменски.
Мной, да? Некорректно. Потому что у меня план. Все так знают.
Какую руку ты мне давал?
Левую, скорее всего.
Так?
Левую, скорее всего.
Левую?
Бывает левая, правая.
Шутник.
Пас.
А что, похоже было, да? Ну, если бы уверенно, может быть, он и сбросил. На чем стоим? Артистизм, неотъемлемая часть покера.
9,500. Пас.
Я ж не положил. Ты ж следи, Игорь. Ну, теперь можно передать.
Пас.
А вы не без переездов.
Что?
Я говорю, все вы не без переездов. За телевизионным столом. А где был переезд?
9500.
Ну, на прихлопе.
Ну, у него ж он убил на рейде 4.
You're watching coverage of the 888 Poker live from Sochi. Fabulous Sochi in an amazing venue. Super exciting to be here. My first time. I hope not my last time, because it really is very special. Because, you know, one of the nicest poker venues I've been in, one of our best 888 live experiences. And I'm excited because I've got a guest, which is so much better than talking to myself in an empty room. Our newest 888 ambassador, Daria Feschenko.
Hi, Nick. Nice to meet you. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Daria. How's it going?
Very good. I'm very excited. I just became officially 888 Poker ambassador.
You were
and it's great
unveiled.
news. Yeah.
It was lovely.
Yeah. Actually, I hesitate a little bit because, you know, a lot of attention. But it was so warm, so nice. I'm really happy for this opportunity.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Now you've played the main.
Actually, yeah, I played the main twice. I think I made something like a record for the speed. At first, I played it like for 15 minutes. Today, I played it only for 3 hands.
Nice.
Yes, but I'm still in the high roller event. Today, the 3rd day, so I hope I will run a little bit better.
I hope so too. You busted really quickly, so
Yeah.
so you had time to come and talk to me. That's
yeah,
why, right?
Yeah,
I
for
knew it.
sure.
So on our feature table, we have Michael Mizraki, and then we have some other players that I don't know, but you might know 1 or 2 of them, is possible.
Let me check. I suppose that I know Anatoly. We call him Anatoly the Machine in Russian because he always, when he win a pot, he scream like machine, like he means that he's super strong, and it's very funny. I'm not sure that I know other players, but he's fun guy.
And which player is that?
Here is not showing
Which
now.
Anatoly?
He's
Oh, Chenyak, or no?
no. I will show you a little bit later. But these guys, I don't know.
And also, the other thing you're going to help me with is you're going to help me with the surnames.
Yeah,
I've been doing
yeah, for
super
sure.
badly.
Yeah, Russian names are a little bit insane. I know. In my room, they made like nearby, I suppose, 5 or 6 mistakes only in my surname.
Oh, really?
Yes. They spell it something like fresh hatiko or something like this. I don't know how to spell
Fresh
it.
chips.
Yeah, you're close.
That's
So-
not a bad poker nickname for you.
Yeah.
Fresh chips, Feshchenko.
Yeah.
Yeah, work with that,
Yeah, it sounds inspiring.
isn't it?
So how does the main event go?
So we've got 120 players
Oh,
left,
and
and I think they hit the money at 80 players. So we're just coming down towards the money.
pretty close.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think we'll get there tonight, but we may. Mizraki's in seat 1, as you can see.
Yeah, and Anatoly is in the C3.
I thought that would be him.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me his surname.
Anatoly, machine. Yeah, and I forgot the surname because
Okay.
when we use only machine.
I think calling him the machine's going to be better.
Yeah,
It's gonna be better for
cooler,
me.
Yeah,
So we get to have the grinder versus the machine.
yeah,
like it.
yeah, as always.
So Daria, tell us, you play high stakes cash,
Yeah,
no limit?
yeah. I play on the Texas Hold'em.
Okay.
Like I'm doing it like nearby for 7 years. I also play some tournaments. Actually, like last year and a half, maybe last 2 years, I was playing a lot of tournaments because I was, when you're playing high stakes cash game, you should be very oriented of table selection. And for sure, cash games they're also about some competition, ego, something like this. But first of all, about money. So as for me, I was always looking for some good games, private games, very soft fields. And one day I become bored, and I decided that tournament poker could be a little bit more competitive for me, a little bit more about sports. So last year and a half, I played tournament also, but actually, like, it's not my discipline for 100%. I'm totally a cash player.
Oh, we got an interesting pot here. So Dead Chef has 3-bet with the ace queen.
Yeah.
And Mizraki's going to shove. So this is a big shove.
I can't find where is
So
big
it's 216. So we're playing
2-6.
2K, 4K.
2-4. Yeah, I see. That said, unfortunately, I have ace queen.
Did he?
His surname is Diechev.
Yes. Did he call? He did call. So this is a huge pot
Yeah,
for Mizraki.
Yeah.
Aye.
Oh, he's screaming in English. Come on. Oh, now Michael gets some chances, but no.
So good for Dechev, bad for us because we were watching
yeah,
Michael Mizraki,
yeah,
and now
for sure. Oh yeah,
That's pretty
that's so
gross.
annoying. Yeah. He's checking. Does he cover?
it's a bad time to ask for an autograph.
Yeah.
How are you with bad beats? Do you take them well, or do you?
Actually, I'm almost always fine. But I'm not angry about bad beats because it's just variance. Because you know, like the variance help, for example, for recreation to win some pots, and this is how poker works. But I can be very tilted because my own mistakes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and can be very angry of myself. That is the most annoying thing for me. But I mean, it's good in one way that if you know, if you're angry about your mistakes, you will always grow up. You will try not to make them again. But sometimes I'm very strict to myself. So now I'm like trying to find the gold middle. But variance is just variance. Sometimes it is annoying. Sometimes it's difficult to be chill. But you have to take it because if you cannot take it, you cannot play poker.
It's very true. Well, the grinder will have to take some variance today, unfortunately.
yeah.
He's
sorry for
three
him.
outed out of our main event. I'm sorry if you were enjoying watching him. I'm sorry he's gone. We're excited to have him here. Hopefully we'll see him again. Hopefully we get him in the commentary booth.
Yeah, it would be nice also.
He could tell us all about stud high-low and things like that.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know even the rules of all these
Oh, really?
games. Yeah, and that's a little bit weird because my boyfriend play all these mixed limit games, and
Okay.
I'm just like, well, no idea what's going on. Like I see, you know, like when they're playing in Vegas, so there's a lot of signs with the name of these games, and I don't know even all the names.
Yeah, they have
Honestly,
some
I
weird
call them
ones.
private games, but
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how polite is it. So, but we've opened pocket nines.
Yeah. And Dechev likes to play pots.
Yeah,
and
I
he
see.
liked to play pots before he got 400k,
Ah.
and now
I see. Okay, queen deuce call. Big call.
Только я проговорил про переезды
so 3 ways to the flop.
Uh huh.
рынок.
Queen deuce hit. Yay. It's hard to hit with queen deuce. And Bachev checks here. What do you think? Is he open pre-flop?
With pocket nines.
Mhm.
Well, against big blind. Actually, I don't like c-bet this hand because, like, if you're like a little bit under than the biggest card here, you can easily skip. But if you want, you can bet only 30%, like 33% of pot. Also, I prefer just to check because, like, 4 deuce is pretty good for big blind and for the cutoff also because normally it should be like a lot of like ace-5, ace-3, or 4, something like this.
Mhm. Now we've
That's your
been,
bet.
yeah, we've been watching Dechev for a little while, and he just
Yeah.
likes to bet. We've
Yeah,
seen, we've
yeah,
seen
yeah,
him
I get it,
bluff.
yeah,
We've seen him
yeah.
like everything. He just likes to bet. He has a strong right arm, always in action.
So he bet almost half of pot.
Oh
A
yeah.
little bit more.
I mean, Bachev is short.
Yeah.
He's short stack, but that's really annoying.
Yeah.
Dechev, our chip leader here on our
Mm.
feature table by a distance.
Yes.
So you're in the high roller.
Yeah.
It started. Or it's going
No.
to start. starting today.
In 1 hour, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. I got you.
No, it's
I'm
already
I'm
day
trapped
3.
in here, so I don't know what's happening outside.
No, it's already day 3 of high roller.
How many are left?
28, I suppose.
28. Cool.
Yeah.
So you make the money today.
Hope so.
Come on.
Yeah, I'll try my best.
It's your unveiling as an ambassador. You're definitely
Yeah,
gonna make the
yeah,
money.
yeah.
I think so.
Sophie is also still in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And yesterday we had such a cool table, like me, Sophie, and Vivi at the same table.
888 girl
Yeah.
power.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Did you beat them up?
No, I just like play a few pots with each other, and I left the table. The floor took me to another table. Once we were close with Vivi, but she folded.
She's scared.
А не игра по правилам. А вы, по-моему, правильно сыграли.
So why did you start getting into poker? Why did you start playing?
Well, I started to play when I was 16.
Okay.
I started from cash games, and it was like 10 years ago, and I was playing underground cash games in Moscow, so it was pretty easy to
At
grow
16?
up. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. First of all,
This
I was
wasn't scary at all.
no. When you're 16, you're
You
not
have no
scared
fear.
at all.
Right,
yeah,
right,
for
it's
sure.
true.
I was trying to
I'd be
play.
scared now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah. And I grew up pretty quickly because the field was very soft, the rate was lower for sure, and I was doing good, I was earning good, and life was brilliant, like when you're a young girl and you got everything you want. I didn't think that it will be like my future or will do it for professional. I was just like playing because I love to do it. I was earning, and I spent almost all my time for poker.
and can you remember how you got good? Were you studying online or something, or were you just playing and experience?
It was very authentic moment. At first of all, I didn't know about online poker. I didn't know about some poker forums. I just thought that I have to go to a bookshop and buy all books about poker. I
Okay.
read all of them. After that, I start to meet some professional players in poker clubs and start to ask them how do they start, and they recommended me other books.
This is like the old school way of getting good.
It's super old school, really. And I was reading. After I met some players who are playing good, I was just sitting there. I took a chair. I was sitting next to him and watching and asking. And growing up, and it was enough for a long, long time. And only nearby 4 years ago, I started to be more interested in online poker. I started to have a blog on one popular Russian resource, and I met online recs, and I got known about some programs, online poker. I see the difference between me and them. It was so huge. And I continued to work harder and harder, and like I really improved my game because it was enough for the game I played, but it wasn't enough for me.
I think it's hard to go from live to online these
Yeah,
days. I
it's
think
really
it's easier to
hard,
go from
yeah.
online to live because
Yeah.
the gap from
Yeah.
live to online is
Yeah,
big,
for
right?
sure. But I've understood that if I wanna grow up, I don't wanna spend like my life, like in underground illegal poker games. I need to do this, and like last 2 years, actually, I'm more live player for sure because I'm better in it. I start to travel worldwide and play a lot of poker series. It works good for me. So I'm still more live player for sure.
Any preferred tournaments or cash now?
Cash games.
Yeah.
I came back.
Cash
yeah.
games are great.
But tournaments still are like my passion for sure.
Tournaments are great when you go deep. Like there's nothing more exciting.
Yeah,
That's
for
the thing.
sure. But
like, like you're going to in this high roller.
yeah, but you're never satisfied if you're not first. Almost never.
That's true.
But tournaments for me, it's like it's a new discipline for me, and for sure I'm weaker in tournaments than in cash games. So it's so interesting. It's inspiring, motivates me so much because I'm still studying, growing up. And like previous year when I come on the table and it was tough for me, it was difficult for me, and I notice how every month it becomes more and more comfortable and chill for me. I start to feel my edge. It was incredible. Like it make my heart on fire again to love poker again. Okay, for sure. Like now I choose the cash games, but I mean tournaments like came back me to feel this huge passion, huge love to poker. So Anatoly open ace4 from the button.
And this name.
Help
me.
Alexei Stikolshikov.
Stokolshikov, that's what I was saying.
Really?
Yes.
Bravo.
So excited.
Yeah.
Stokolshikov.
Do you see SHCH? It is one letter in Russian. Stikolshikov.
SHCH.
Sure.
Sure.
I have the same letter in my surname, and it's always huge issue.
Oh, okay. Feshenko.
Yeah.
Not Feshchenko.
Yeah,
but
Fishenko.
Feshenko.
Yeah, you spell
Okay.
it really great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I missed what happened because I was trying
Yeah,
to
me
work on my
too.
pronunciation. I guess he didn't 3-bet. He just flat
Yeah, I'm
called.
also confused.
He must have not
Okay.
3-bet.
Okay.
We'll
Like,
see. They'll put the graphic in a minute.
Strange.
Bet 17.
We lost our graphics. I apologize for this.
Oh yeah. So bet 17.
So we know that Stokolshikov has ace queen,
Yeah.
and he didn't 3-bet. So you can take us through what he should be thinking now. It's a single raise pot, and it's Jack 10
Yeah.
deuce on the
Yeah,
board.
for sure.
With ace queen, he's thinking,
Yeah, but I mean all options are fine. I'm very confused. What's happened? He folded.
he folded, yeah.
I'm not of all options. I'm sorry, I'm fine.
Folding
Except
seems
folding.
seems not like an option.
Yes.
That was a surprising decision.
Yeah, both of them.
That's a pretty nice flop for ace queen, man.
Yeah, like, what do you want to see more?
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
Ради кого все эти старания?
Okay, like, I don't want to judge and blame anybody. I'm just like deeply confused.
А, если только для этого. Я думаю, да.
You're listening to Team 888's newest ambassador, Daria Vashenko.
Yeah, perfect.
Raise 15.
We're really excited to have her here on stream and also to have her joining the team. Now, you're Scarlet D
Yeah.
online.
Yeah.
Explain to me.
Have you ever read Gone with the Wind? Or maybe
I saw the
have
movie.
seen- Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of Scarlett O'Hara. I cannot say that she's like the best person. Her personality is great. She is
Mhm.
special one. But for me, that's a great story. How from young, like special, maybe soft, like very childish and immature girl, she grew up to very strong and powerful woman.
Nice.
Like she did a lot for her Terra, for herself and her family also. And she always kept her feminine. She always stayed herself. But she can combine this feminine with her real huge power and fortitude. I was very inspired of this story. It's not a story about love. Like honestly, all of them didn't understand what is love. It's not a story about cool personality. Cool personality was Melanie Hamilton, but Scarlett was strong and like I appreciate this strongness, fortitude plus feminine. It's
Wow.
cool. Yeah.
That's probably the best explanation of a screen name I ever heard. Usually
you
poker
so
players
much.
are like, I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah.
You know Timex, Mike
Yeah,
McDonald,
yeah,
he
yeah.
literally couldn't think of anything, so he looked at his watch and it said Timex, so
Yeah,
he put
yeah,
it in.
yeah, exactly. Like everybody I've asked, they're just like, I haven't known that everybody will call me like this. I was just like
Yeah.
type. And my close friend, his full name is Vladimir. And in Russia, we call him Vova or Vladimir. And when he was making his screen name, he used Vlad. And it is different name in Russia. And he had no idea what he chose another name. And he became one of the most famous online players. And everybody was calling him Vlad. He was so annoyed because it was different. I said, about what did you think? He said, like, I didn't know.
I didn't know, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now he's punished because of it. So, well, now we say, Dishef open Queen 3 suited from UTG, as I
Yeah.
see.
He likes to play.
To 15k. Is it still 2-4?
I believe so. I've been talking to you.
Uh-huh.
I've been a bad commentator again.
And the flop check.
So now Korochenska is going to bet and take it down. Korochenski.
Yeah.
Ski. Korochenski.
Cool.
Would you mind if I just like message you all of the names for the next 3 days?
for sure.
And then you write back like exactly how it should be.
Yeah, I
That'd be
know,
really
because the
helpful,
Russian
Daria.
names are really special.
There we go. Everything from 8 big blinds up to 94 big
Yeah.
blinds at our feature table. And sadly, no longer Michael the Grinder Mizraki. Great to have him here in Sochi. And we have gone up. We're playing 2-5, 2.5, 5.
Oh, I see, but that's still too
And
much.
5 in the big blind. 5 for the big blind ante, excuse me. Which is the big blind playing the ante for the table. We probably have less than 120 players now. Obviously, we don't have real time. So we'll update that soon. But we're playing down towards the money.
11.5.
And have you been to this casino before?
Yeah,
Sochi?
for sure,
It's pretty
yeah.
cool, right?
Yeah, it's really nice because when they just opened it, I was very impressed. It's beautiful and the area is beautiful and casino
For
is very
sure.
stylish and comfortable. And like I'm really proud that we have in Russia such a good poker area.
It's one of the nicest venues that we've been to. It's really,
Yeah.
really a stunning venue.
And I love to come to Sochi so much. I mean, when you go out, see all of these mountains, the fresh air. We have a lot of nice restaurants. It's very chill. It's very cozy, super clean, and like it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a really nice place. Have you been up the cable car?
Yeah, once.
Okay, is it good?
Yeah,
it
it's
scary?
very nice. No, it's not scary. It's
I don't
very
trust
nice.
cable cars, Daria.
Yeah.
They're swingy. I don't
Yeah,
understand why they swing.
I know. It's my huge pain. I'm afraid of heights so
Are you really?
much. Yeah.
Wow.
It's just like,
Cable cars are
but
bad.
this one is fine. If
Okay.
it's for me, fine.
Okay.
It should be really. And it's worth it,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I have to try and fit it in. Konovalov has 3-bet here
Uh-huh. I see.
from the small blind
Against UCG also.
against UTG.
Uh,
That's quite unusual, I think.
yeah, actually I don't like both of them. Like to open ace 4 of suited from UCG. But like, okay.
Tell us.
Russian
tell us.
poker, like,
No, tell us.
I mean, everything is bad. No, I mean, for sure, we can call it from this B sometimes, even sometimes, you know, like, but to open ace 4 of suited from UCG, like, it's a little bit too wide.
Little
I
bit
think
wide.
so, but you know, like Russian poker, it's powerful, it's strong.
Splashy.
yeah,
Splashy.
yeah. Nobody is afraid of anything.
So tell us about Russian poker, because obviously it's become very popular in the last few years. You must have seen a big change since
Yeah.
when you started.
Yeah, like Russian players, they're pretty creative, you know, like they like to have some action. Like, they're not super aggressive or too much aggressive. They're just like, you know, like it's like this special kind of recreation. Like I don't know, like they open something weird, for example, at pre-flop. Maybe they bet flop, but they super lost on turn river. They maybe
Okay.
continue to play super passive or find very stupid bluff or something like this. But I cannot say that, you know, like they're just like spewing, raising. Oh, it should be a cool hand. ETG open.
Mm-hmm.
and
3-bet
he's
for
short one.
Stokolshikov.
Yeah,
So
from the bottom.
Chineyev is short stacked, as you can
Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
The other two players have 40 and 41 and maybe
But
45
Chineyev
big blinds.
open. Chineyev limped.
He limped.
Yeah, so now he's going to. He raised. Yeah.
He 3-bets to
Actually,
28K.
it is not very good to limp. Like with 8 big blinds, pocket fours is just open shove.
Agree.
Because it's not enough fold equity, like, but
What can you do now?
yeah. Wow. I mean, actually, just fold, you know.
Yeah. Now he's
Yeah.
like, okay, this is gross. So talk us through, I think the interesting thing is now that ace
Yeah.
queen suited, what are you thinking in this situation when you've been 3-bet?
Well, he has nearby 40 bigs. I prefer to call because it's enough deep, because it's suited hand. Push is also reasonable, but I like to just call and play this one. But both options are good. But the size of the bet is pretty small, you know. Like it looks like expressing just like 2.5x times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will just call. And Chineyev, like he played, like it's close to fold for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Right.
just crying. He was just
Yeah.
sad.
But I mean, no.
Well, we saw Stokolshikov play pretty tight with ace queen before,
Yeah.
but he's cutting chips. Maybe he's 4-betting. He is. Well, his timing is bad.
But yeah, and
You look
like
pained.
yeah, and he's not like his 40 bigs. Like what he's going to do for bet fold with ace queen, it's not reasonable.
He's like
I
loving
like-
life. He's
Yeah,
like, my life is so good.
Yeah. And for him, it's better just to call. Yeah.
He puts it all in. They're not doing what you're telling them.
Yes.
why
yes,
won't they listen?
Why?
And so you are watching on a half-hour delay, just in case you haven't watched one of these streams before. It's half hour's delay just to preserve the integrity
Yeah,
of the game.
yeah,
so
yeah. Okay, now he's counting his stick one more time.
so this
Like,
is
I mean, you know,
this-
like when you're forbidding with their stack size, like, it's very strong hand, ace queen suited. Yeah, yes. It is not
So
for
he-
value, because if you
he-
got all in, you're always behind, but it's super strong hand to make it for bet fold.
he turned it into 3-2 offsuit.
Yeah,
The 4-bet folding there.
wow.
It's one of those things where, like, if you're kind of newer to poker, you think, yeah, but maybe he thinks he doesn't have the best hand, but there's so much money in the pot.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's it. But yeah, you cannot but fold. It's too good. Like,
8-2.
He's caused Daria pain, which is bad.
yeah.
We have a new player at the table with tons of chips and a big hand.
His surname is Vershinin.
Vershinin.
Yeah, in Russian it means highest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and he already got queens. And Anatoly Karachensky had ace-10 at the middle position.
If I'm at the table, I hate this I hate this, but I'm like, I think, okay, he's come to the table new. He's got tons of chips. He's just trying to bully.
Yeah.
He's trying to bully.
Yeah.
And so I'd be thinking, okay, I'm going to 3-bet
I
him.
think Anatoly not going to leave this here for sure. He called it ace-10 of suited. Okay. I mean, look, poker in Russia is incredible. Euro is incredible. Guys are incredible, like they're making
Action.
poker great again, really. Like nothing boring, no ranges, just feeling, and heart and
really,
passion.
really?
Yeah.
This is a good place to play. No question.
Button also called against UCG and UCG +2 with 5-4 because Dechev love to play. I mean, it's cool. It's interesting to watch. Like you're always surprised.
Yeah, it's really good to watch.
Yeah, and actually, I think that nobody have to be like confused that they may be like playing a little bit special because, like they're just enjoying. They're just like recreation. They do whatever they want, and maybe when you're commenting, it's good to explain if somebody interested in. But also, like it's not for blaming. It's just like if they enjoy what they do, it's cool. Like, why not? No, I don't think that everybody have to be very good, like they can just enjoy if it's just their part hobby of their life.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, Korochenski here is second pair.
And Verfrinin c-bet his hand.
Yeah.
I see. How much did he c-bet? 16? 16 to 50. Okay.
You would expect Korochenski to continue here?
No, I don't
think he
c-bet his hands.
Oh, the c-bet.
Yeah.
You expect Korochenski to play on. He does
Yeah,
call.
no,
But if you're
call for sure.
Vershinin, you just check.
Yeah.
So Dechev folds, and we'll get a pair on the board.
Yeah. So he bet turn 18
This is a confusing bet.
to 80.
It's a very small bet.
Yep.
It's a very small bet
A-
with
and
like
it's
a lot of
really
draws on the board
confusing.
as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
I don't know. Korochenski calls. A lot of interesting rivers potentially. So backdoor flush gets there.
So how much will he bet? 20. Why 20? Like, I mean, it should be value for
Yes.
sure, but from what kind of hand he want to get value?
I mean, it's like he can see his cards.
Yeah,
Because if you knew he had ace 10, you'd go small bet, small bet. It's genius, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Mind reader.
Exactly. I think against most of his range, it's like doesn't really accomplish much, but against ace 10, it's kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
This is maybe a
But
raise.
that's cool, like to find the value with pocket queens at such board.
He's actually
At 3, it's at the backdoor flush, also close. I mean, like, okay, there are almost none of them, maybe queen, jack of clubs. Oh, he got paid. Like, that's how people become cheap leaders. Like, just look. Just
get paid.
find value with pocket queens on all the
That's how you do it,
streets.
man.
I will never
that
play
flop-
like this, but it was
Exactly.
wonderful. Yeah.
That flop comes down, you're not going, okay, 3 streets.
Yeah. But I'm sitting here and yelling a little bit.
Exactly. How many hands did you play today, Daria?
3.
3, right.
Yeah.
So you can give us some education, seriously, because you're talking about Russian players and they play, like there's no ranges and they play all kinds of cards. One of the things that we hear players play a lot is I really struggle to play against players who have any 2 cards.
Yeah.
Like people find this very difficult.
Yes,
So
sure.
give them some tips. How do you approach somebody like that?
For me, at first, like it was the best because to adjust to a player, you have to understand not how he plays. It's impossible. It's randomizer on his head, but who is he? Like his personality type. Because all persons
How he
have
views poker, kind of.
not just,
or just
only poker. Like
Okay.
all of us have some weaknesses inside. All of us, when they come a little bit tilted, like you can be aggressive, you can be depressed, you can do something like this, become to make more and more mistakes. And you have to realize how to make person in a very unstable situation, like make him friendly with you, he won't play with you, something like this. And also you just like observe. But actually for these things you have to be very good in live games. Now if you don't understand, like you shouldn't play like this against Recreation. Like just at first play your game, play your GTO game, play your math game, and just notice. Because I always say to people, like with this type of people, you have to observe them, try to see some tells, try to understand their special logic. But if you're not sure in tells, never use it, because people start to make so many mistakes because of it. Just
I
be
agree.
super sure. Like it's very important, it's very useful, but you should be really good in these things.
Good advice. And I think you can, ace on the turn is very welcome for Stokoshikov here. I think you can learn so much just from listening and talking to people at the live game. And I think like never be late for a tournament, because before the tournament starts, when people arrive, you find out so much. Like you find out if the tournament is important to them, if they satellited, all these things.
For sure.
I think it's like it's part of playing live, I think, right?
Yeah, there. And also I can say, like, never try to be balanced against Recreation, because they don't remember these things. Like
This
maybe
is very
sometimes
important.
like it's very important to be to understand what does they remember. They can remember one your bluff, like, and when like other 100 times you show them nuts. It could be in the
They
different
remember
moments, just like the
remarkable
situation.
things,
Yeah.
but nothing else really. Yeah, my first poker coach said, if you show a recreational player a bluff, he'll remember it forever.
Yeah.
He'll remember
for
that
sure.
you bluffed him
Yes.
forever.
Yeah, and maybe he will find you enemy.
Yeah.
Little bit, because for me, like sometimes I meet some people. They say like, we were playing with you like 4 or 5 years ago, and you won me one pot against me, big pot. And like I can put my hand on the Bible and swear that I see him first time in my life, because
Right.
like I played so much and I don't remember all this pot, and I'm so confused. And they still, like they open their notes with like, she won those pot. And even it could be a cooler, like it could be bluff, it could be something
Right.
ordinary, like never mind, they still remember
That's
it.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So this is a rematch. Shinin was, as you can see, was ahead on the flop, but then it all... Oh, it's not a
Yeah.
rematch, sorry. But Stokoshikov will win this.
Yeah.
You've got just over an hour until our free roll starts on 888, and it's free money. It's the best kind of money at the perfect price. You go to the restricted tournaments tab, and you find the 888poker live daily free roll. The password is 888poker. A different password tomorrow. We're going to have a free roll every day at 8 o'clock GMT, 10 o'clock if you're in Sochi. You're watching live coverage of 888 Live Sochi from the fabulous Casino Sochi. I'm here with Team 888's newest ambassador, Daria Fishenko.
Yeah.
I've got it now.
Yeah.
And we're
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, great.
I feel like my Russian pronunciation has come on
Yeah,
a
really.
lot
Like,
in the last hour.
Very good. I was trying to study Tiffany Michelle a little bit bad words in Russian, but
Oh,
lucky
nice.
for me, she didn't get it very well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like she asked me, I told her, but I was so confused. At first I say, and after I think that maybe it's too much, but it was funny.
Tiffany just wants the bad words.
No, she also asked me how to wish good luck, but like, you know, everybody's studying, everybody some special naughty words.
Yeah. So Chineyev is finally all in.
He has 5 big blinds. Bluffing is thinking at small B with a very good hand, 9-6 of suited, but he found very strong fold. What about BB? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Vershinin has looked him up here. So Chineyev actually will get it in.
Vershinin call.
Yeah.
I thought he fold, and I
No,
was
he
very
actually
confused
called.
that big blind fold.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chineyev actually gets it in good.
yeah. So 3 8. Yeah, that's how people become chip leaders.
Just keep hitting, man.
Yeah.
So a sponsor's flop with 3-8s on the board, and then a river that Chev didn't want to see, and we will lose him. Good run in the tournament, but he just misses the money. We're somewhere around 114 players left. 80 get paid. And Daria is not in the main event anymore, which means she can talk to us, which is good. But you are in the high roller.
Yeah.
You have good chips.
Not bad, nearby like 46, 47 big blinds, but I started day 2 with only 17 blinds. So I'm
Awesome.
pretty
Progress.
satisfied. Yeah.
Does it finish tonight? Or does it carry on tomorrow?
No, I think it will continue tomorrow
Okay,
also.
cool.
Yeah. I hope so, because it's too late.
Yeah, that's true. I was forgetting. Yeah, it's 9 already.
But you know, you never know where in Russia is strict. Maybe they are like a lot casinos, like play till the end. They have to survive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've traveled a lot in the last
Yeah.
year or so?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I
You like
almost
it?
leave, you know, like on my luggage. I never totally unpack my suitcase. Yeah.
It's Poker Pro's life, man.
Yeah. And in one point, it's very cool for sure. It's very interesting. But at the other one, you know, sometimes like when I haven't been home for a long time, or I just change a lot of places, I wake up and I couldn't realize in the first 5-7 seconds it's pretty big, you know, where I am. I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling.
Can I change show?
Do you ever get out the wrong side of the bed and smash yourself on the wall? Because you're in the because you remember you're in the wrong place and you get out the wrong side.
Yeah.
I've done that for sure.
Yeah.
180 big blinds is a lot of chips. That's you know, you can work with that. Just the 900k. He must be close to the chip leader. If he's not actually the chip leader. 108 players left. It's possible we will make the money if they keep going like this today. We only have, I think, another hour after this. Something like that. If you're just joining us and you're wondering, the chip denominations, because we're always asked this, the blue chips are 5k and the yellow chips are 1k, and Konovalov has some 25k chips, the red ones. What are some of your favorite places you've played in on your travels?
Actually, it can be USA for sure because of fields like Las Vegas, LA, Miami. I don't like LA so much to play because like casinos are so, but the field is great, really. Well, like Sochi for sure, I like it.
How much did you play in Vegas this summer? Lots.
I spent almost 2 months this
Yeah.
year in Vegas, and it was my second trip to Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, like of course I like Macau. Like I choose there places I love to play because of field. But for the most comfortable, for sure, like I enjoy Bahamas so much
you go.
because you know, like you're living at the resort. Everything's like so cool island, very blue sea,
What's not to
beach.
like?
Yeah, like, but no. I mean, once in the USA, I was playing cash games at the ex-dog racing area.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Glamour.
and the game was great. The area was terrible, but the game was great. And like I have to call this place, like one of my favorite places because
Okay,
the
because you
game
made
is
money.
So, yeah.
I know.
But when that's insane, really.
Do you not see this thing with poker players where how they view a venue? It just so like if they won the first time they went, they love it. If they lost the first time they went, it's terrible. That place is terrible.
Like a little bit irrational, but about emotional. So
6-9 suited, everybody's favorite hand.
yeah.
Cherniak can isolate him here.
Not so big. But okay.
And what do you think about Gorachensky's hand in this spot? It's playable or you're folding?
I don't like they're offsuited. Position like it's close to call actually.
Yeah.
Like,
He does call.
no, for sure.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah.
It's a chance to play. Let's go.
Yeah.
It is much better for a stream that people are like splashing in
Yeah,
action.
yeah.
like-
Once I was commenting Triton, and they have two tables. One was full of recreation, and one was full of pros and Russian pros.
Okay.
Like Russian and European one. And at first levels, you're watching pros table, nothing's going, nothing. You're watching Chinese, they're amazing. Like something is going. This was so cool.
Same blinds. It doesn't matter.
Yes, the same moment. Oh, we get a
The
cool
nuts.
flop. Yeah. Wow, for all of them.
Oh, wow. So, yeah.
But if don't show his gut shot and flush draw, did
So,
you fold?
Batyev-
Churniak is like, what's going on?
Yeah, he's loving
Is it the present?
loving it. Vatyev has shoved his short stack with the flush draw, as you can see.
Yeah, but
Cherniak has the nuts and Korachensky has 2 pair. Cherniak's just going to call, I think. And now Korachensky may shove here. Because he may think he can get Cherniak to fold. Well, he can't get him to fold. He's not going to fold better, is he? It's a fun pot.
yeah,
gonna
I
be a
mean
big
it's
pot.
crazy. Like big blind donk shove like almost pot. Churniak call, just call. Korachensky's like confusing, really confusing.
It's really confusing.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Just call.
So far they haven't done what you've said. So now you've said call, I expect him to shove. One of our most interesting hands so far today. Korachensky has a decision. They both started the hand with very similar stacks. I'll be honest, I don't know what he's doing here. He's moving his chips around in a very strange way. I don't know.
Little bit magic.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to produce another stack. Look, I have... Okay, that didn't achieve anything. We haven't progressed. So in a lot of these 888 live events, we have a shot clock.
Good.
Clearly, we don't have a shot clock today.
Yeah, so, I like shot clocks. Actually, I almost never use my time cards. I think only once I used the two of them in one situation, but normally I hold almost all of them. Honestly, I think that shot clocks are good for small tournaments because, turbo tournaments also because
So
people
little
waste their
time.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I little bit don't understand why they use them only in high roller events because maybe they went there where you have to think a little bit more, and it could be reasonable. But I think it's very good to use them almost everywhere. Okay, call.
He calls.
Yeah.
So
See the turn.
200k in the middle, roughly 195.
Yeah.
We think. Betting on the side, gentlemen. Four of clubs is a brick.
Mm-hmm. The dealer asked Cherniak, did he check? He said no.
No checks. No checks here. I don't think it's going to be a check from him, I'll be honest. I think he might wager. He might bet. There it goes. He ships it with the nuts.
Трудная задача.
It's a tough decision. And ask to count his stack.
Not much has changed.
Yeah.
What do you think about this spot? Tell
It's
me.
fault on the turn for sure.
Fold on the turn for sure. Explain for everyone.
You can what kind of hands he can just big blind shove almost pot. He just called. He opened from middle position. So what kind of hands can Anatoly beat with his ace 10? None of them. Because he even blocking ace king, ace queen. But I don't think that ace king, ace queen without any flush draws will play like this. There, so it should be their weakest hand, which he can see. It could be set. Anatoly called.
It's interesting as well because I feel like from how he was acting, I feel like he knew he was probably no good.
Yeah.
But then he called. I'm slightly surprised. I thought he was going to fold, if I'm honest.
No.
He's not dead.
Oh. Wow.
Oh. Batyev hits. He loves it. So a huge pot here, and I'm trying to work out what Cherniev, how much he wins or loses in that hand. He lost 42k, but he won 120, so he's won about 80k on the hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Batyev has more than tripled up, a little bit more than tripled up, roughly tripled up. So that was a really interesting spot. Oh, look, we're going to be in London.
Yeah, so.
I live there. That's really convenient.
Oh, cool. Cool.
It's very nice of them. We'll be in London in November. We've got a lot going on before then. Are you coming to Portugal?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So you can all come and meet Daria in Portugal. She'll take your money from you.
Yeah, and it will be my first visiting of Portugal and London also. So I'm very
you've never
excited.
been to London?
Yeah, never
wow.
been. Yeah, I'm so excited.
You have to
Like,
take a
once
tour
you
of
do
London.
it. Yeah,
It's
for
an
sure.
amazing city.
And honestly, I'm a huge fan of Harry Potter. And I
Are
want to
you?
visit the
Oh,
museum.
wow.
Yeah.
The studio tour.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
like, I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. Like, I don't mind, but I'm not a huge fan. But the studio tour is the best, one of the best visitor attractions, one of the best tourist attractions I've ever done.
That's
It's
so cool.
amazing. You have to 100% do it.
Oh,
You'll
yeah.
love it. It's so good.
I hope so. I will be very happy. And also happy that I understand you so good because, you know, English pronunciation is always so soft, so slowly, and my one Russian, one pronunciation, we speak very strong.
Yeah.
And when we meet each other, like sometimes I'm so confused because for example, for me and one Englishman, for sure, I have an accent, but I don't understand him and I have to repeat all his words with my broken English
Oh,
inside
really?
my head to understand. It's so embarrassing.
You're understanding me or you're just
Yes,
like guessing?
yeah.
Yeah, you're
No, I'm
understanding.
understanding.
Amazing.
And I'm surprised. Yeah.
So that'll be really fun. So you guys can all join us in Portugal in, what day is it now? I never know what day it is. It's only 3-4 weeks till Portugal. September the 5th to the 8th for the WPT Deep Stacked. And then London, you have to wait until November. But lots coming this autumn from 888 Poker. And Daria will be at both. That's what we're watching. This is day 2 of the main event here at the fabulous Casino Sochi. One of the best poker venues I've been to. It's really cool. And we're going to cover this event down to the winner. We hope to also get some of the high roller, which Daria's going to go and play soon, aren't you?
Mm.
You ready? Has this got you
Yeah.
in the mood? In the
Yeah.
zone?
Yeah.
I like it.
I have my grinding mood. I have my winner mood.
That's right.
And I have my 888 ambassador mood now.
I don't
So
see how
it
you can
could be
lose. You're going to
great.
be indestructible.
Yeah, I hope so.
You know who's on your table?
No.
Okay.
Actually, I still don't know where I sit, but I will come and know it in 2 minutes. Also, I will spend like
You'll
5
soul,
minutes.
soul read them in about 3
Yeah,
minutes. You'll be
yeah.
fine.
I like to explore sometimes. So, Batuev, Cherniak open Jack 10 of suited from the UTG. Okay. Batuev called from the bottom with pocket eights. Kunvalov
Is
is
this
thinking
Jack
of
10,
something.
Jack 10 unsuited
Yeah,
for BGG?
yeah. Nothing special, nothing new for sure, like just Russian poker.
I think he may be a little frustrated as well.
And
because
Jack 7 on big blind called fourth. Bravo. Okay.
super standard.
Yeah, standard. Very interesting like ace 9. So, what Cherniak they're going to do? Oh my god, he's thinking.
Uh-huh. It seems like he takes time.
And he bet 15k. He bet 30%, like it's normal size of spread, but
It's ambitious into 3 players, maybe.
yeah, but I mean it's fine, like, but yeah, how do you say ambitious, but everybody fault.
Nice result.
Yeah.
Хоть небольшой рейд.
Не, за что? Смотри, подход.
And what are your plans after Sochi, Daria?
Well, I will come back to Moscow finally.
You live in Moscow when you live?
Yeah.
I say because you've been traveling, but
Yeah, I
you must
haven't
live
been
in-
to Moscow for so long time. I came back from Vegas just for 2 or 3 days and came with my family to Bulgaria to vacation and fly directly here.
Okay.
And before it, I spent almost 2 months in Vegas. Before Vegas, like I've been at Cyprus and Sochi, so like really almost all this summer I spent like maybe 1 week total, maybe. No, I think 2 weeks total in Moscow. So I miss my hometown so much.
I bet.
Yeah, and I will be in Moscow till Portugal.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Little break.
Yeah, that's cool.
What happened? Nobody's in this pot. I think this is the first, maybe for an hour, the first hand folded to the small blind.
Yeah. Yeah, check.
Blind versus blind.
Mm-hmm.
Dechev has checked.
Actually, I don't like this bluff because like he has less aces and kings which he checked behind after a small B limped, but it works also. Like because small blind can limp a lot of aces, a lot of kings, and big blind will check behind always less numbers of them.
He's much more capped. Than
Yeah.
Закончится раунд и всё.
И нас попросят, да.
Нет, еще один уровень. Перерыв после. Нет, может через стол.
Нужно посадить.
Понятное дело.
Мы играем сегодня до призов, да? Или нет?
Нет, 7
Нет?
уровней.
7 уровней. Ну, кстати,
Нет, ну,
может так
еще
статься.
101 человек.
Близко к концу дня может быть лопнет уже бабл. Но я думаю, вряд ли. Честно, я думаю, что завтра.
То есть он может и не лопнуть.
Я думаю, что сегодня нет.
Вот добавил.
Korczynski obviously badly hurt by that big pot.
Mhm.
It's hard, right? In tournaments, you play a big pot, you have to regroup fast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Very useful for me was one very simple thing because I also become tilted, like when you have like almost 100 big blinds and go like to even 30, you feel bad. But it is tournament, for me it was strange because I was cash player. I have always deep stack.
Right.
And
You lose a big
like
pot,
it
you
is
just pull up
tournament.
again.
You have just always change your strategy. Now we are playing 100 big blinds. Now we are playing 10 big blinds. Now we're playing 20, 30, 40. It's normal. It means nothing. You're just changing strategy. Like it really means almost nothing how much chips you have. Just changing, like this, and it works. Like when you just like I don't know, like when I show and person asks me how much do you have, I'm so always confused because I know only the number of blinds. I don't know the chip count total.
Right.
And somebody asked me, I say like 15.5 big blinds, and they're also confused, and I'm confused because I'm trying to remember, to count in my head. It's very useful. Just know how to have to manage your stack. Never be concentrated.
It's the
on it.
challenge of tournaments that
Yeah.
the decisions you're making are always changing because your stack's changing.
Yeah. It's like nothing more. And when I started to take it like this, take it easy, like I was like, okay, fine.
So
Whatever
now you just
happens,
go, okay, now it's 30 big blinds. I know what to do with 30 big blinds. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Interesting 3-bet here from Cherniak from the small blind. It's Queen 10.
Yeah, it's a little bit wide, but it's not bad actually. But like Sikolikov is not so deep, like he's 130. But I mean, it's fine.
Calling's fine.
Colin,
he's not deep enough.
Colin is fine. No, I mean like against him through bet.
Oh,
But
wow.
no,
So
no,
cool,
good
the flop.
yeah. Because he has 25 big blinds, like when we through bet him, we will get too much shoves also.
Yeah, he has only just
Yeah.
over a pot size
Yes.
bet now. So
But he had a lot of faults also. But I mean, like I like Queen 10 through bet from small blind. It's good bluff through bet. But when our opponent is pretty tight and only with 25 big blinds, maybe it's too wide. But at the same moment, Stekoshkov looks like too wide and he can overfold also. So no.
now you feel like the money must go in.
Yeah.
Although Stokoshikov's made some kind of tight plays, I think,
Mm-hmm.
post-flop, so we'll see. That's a good card for Stokoshkov.
Yeah,
His
for
kind of
sure.
tight
Yeah.
tendencies,
Yeah.
like he may not go broke now, maybe. Does give him some more outs as well, if we get to the river.
Mhm.
Now, from what we've seen with Stokoshkov, I don't think he's going to call.
Yeah. But you know, sometimes they surprise us so
I know,
much.
right?
Like they
It's
just
crazy.
seating, like folded ice cream, and after that going crazy with 6-3 of suited.
You know
Yeah.
what we used to call that?
That's why I never tried to be balanced.
Me and my buddy, when we were learning, we used to call that kind of player tight weird. Tight weird. So they go tight, tight. What was that?
And you know, like not so far ago, I finally found the explanation. They got tired, and even in cash games, they do like this because I don't know.
Massively in cash games.
Yes, I said like they maybe nobody said them that it is allowed to leave the table with your chips. So even online they do the same. They get
That's
tired
funny.
like because they were folding all night. They get tired and just spew it and go
I
away.
know. It's amazing, right?
Yes,
Why not just stop?
yes.
I think this is really underrated because no limit hold'em takes a lot of focus, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And people
yeah.
just drop off a cliff.
Yes.
And
Yeah. I'm like, In Russia, we have one very cool proverb. We say like, if your house already burned, let your garage fire also. You know, like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like this.
I'm not sure if that's wise.
Yes. It's not wise. It's just like, you know, like. Yeah,
He does get away from it.
We're
So
just teasing
ace,
somebody. It's like,
ace was a good card for him
yeah.
in this situation.
Yes.
Once he
Yeah.
got there, ace was good. So Cherniak will take down a pot. We're going to go on a break. 15-minute break. And Daria Fishenko, thank you so much for your company. Thank you for talking with us.
Thank you.
Congratulations again on your
Thank you
ambassadorship.
so much. Thank you.
And we now need you to go and win the high roller because it's a great story. And then we can watch you tomorrow win it.
I will try my best. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good luck in the high roller, Daria. And we'll take a 15-minute break and then we'll be back with more from Casino Sochi.
I'm Martin Jacobson. I won the main event 5 years ago, and now we're back at the Rio where it all started. The main event's the one tournament that every poker player dreams of winning. Just having the opportunity to play the main event one is like a dream of every poker player. I almost have to go back to like my first time entering the Rio. It's such a unique experience and sound like you've never heard before. 4,000 players spread across 500 tables. The only sound you can really hear is people shuffling chips. And you can just feel the tension in the room that everyone's there for the same reason. Everyone wants to win. You can really feel that energy in the room, and it's really something. So back in 2014, the WSOP used the November 9 format, and that was basically a 3-month break between making the final table and then actually finishing it and playing it out. There was a lot of, I wouldn't say pressure, but more like anticipation and excitement, you know, waking up every day and knowing that you're one day closer to your ultimate goal. A lot of my opponents, they've been just taking it easy and partying for 3 months and celebrating the achievement of making the final table. In my opinion, when you're in that state of not committing 100% to something as difficult and competitive as poker, it's really hard to win. You have to be fully committed, either 100% invested in it or not. I was more focused on preparing. I actually haven't watched the final table. I don't remember much from the actual play at the final table. I remember flashes of my preparation, like waking up in the morning, going to the Rio and the crowd. It's like a flow state that I've been trying to repeat ever since. You reach a higher level of consciousness where you're so focused on something that you're not conscious of time or anything else really. You're just focusing on the task. Well, I remember I had pocket tens and I was all in against ace-9. One of my friends came up with a chant 10 for 10, like we wanted a 10 for 10 million. Well, she shows the window card first and it's a 10. And like I knew at that point that it was 99.9% over. It was hard to grasp the reality of the moment. Yeah, it's always funny and a bit awkward too when people realize that you're sitting there like underneath your banner and then they look at you and then you see that they're trying to figure it out and then they want to ask but they don't and then eventually they'll ask and nod and it's awkward but it's funny at the same time.
It's the 50th annual World Series of Poker. We are in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, for another edition of 888 Ride. Joining us today is Jungle Man, Daniel Cates. It's a special edition of 888 Ride because we're giving away money. That's right. Lots of money, $500.
Is that real?
That is real cash, my man. Rules. Very quickly, I'm going to ask you 8 questions. If you answer them all correctly, you will win yourself $500. Boom. If you answer any incorrectly, you will not win the money. You will also not get your ride to the Rio. I am going to drop you off wherever you are. You're going to have to figure out your own ride to the Rio.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah, sorry, man. Those are the rules. You do get one 888 free roll, which means if you can't answer a question, you can grab your phone. You can use the old Google machine, the old interweb, and you can look up the answer. Are you ready, my friend?
All right. Yeah, I think so.
You might know this first one. We're going to start off easy. What is high-stakes poker player Tom Dwan's online handle?
Der123.
Close enough. We'll give it to you. So you have a well-publicized heads-up match, or at least you did have a well-publicized heads-up match with Tom Dwan, which never ended. But I know there was some controversy with that. Has it come to a resolution?
Not yet, but we're planning on arbitrating that.
Fair enough. There you go. 1 for 1. Here you go. You've spent a lot of time playing in big games over in Macau. How do you say hello in Cantonese?
Oh, Jesus.
I'll take it in Mandarin.
Ni hao.
There we go.
That's
done.
Very different.
Okay, 2 for 2. This social influencer and self-described poker player has over 27 million followers on Instagram where he posts pictures of his lavish lifestyle. Who are we talking about?
Dan Bilzerian.
Good, 3 for 3.
Wow, that was
Easy
really
enough.
obvious.
According to, they're going to get harder, trust me. According to High Stakes DB, the biggest pot you ever won in a single hand of online poker was just under $376,000. Who was that pot against?
The biggest pot I ever won on High Stakes DB? I think that was against...
I'm going to give you a hint. He plays tennis.
I was about to say that, Patrick Antonius.
Done. 4 for 4. I love it. Okay. This is a tough one. This player has won 7 World Series of Poker bracelets, all of which have come in lowball games. Name that player.
Can I use this lifeline?
You can use the 888 free roll. Are you? Let me know when you're ready to go.
I'm ready to go. I just started. I mean,
Go.
I don't know when it starts. There's pressure. Wait. Billy Baxter.
Billy Baxter's right. Look at that. You've been in the news lately for a particular video that you produced and was starring in, and many people are talking about that. If I remember correctly, you told me that the photographers, the filmmakers,
Yeah.
had worked with Playboy, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a mix. Yeah, actually 100%.
Well, this is a tough question. Let's see if you get it. In what year was the first issue of Playboy magazine?
Oh, f***. This one I have no idea.
I will give you one hint and one hint only.
Okay.
Marilyn Monroe was the cover girl.
I'm pretty young. Like 19... 31? I don't know.
1931, that's awesome. No, it is 1953.
Yeah, shit, I was pretty close to that.
Yeah, I have bad news for you. I mean, honestly, if you'd gotten it close, I think I probably would have helped you out. I have bad news for you. You are not going to win this money. Good news is you might win $1 million today playing the 50K Players Championship.
That's decent news.
Which is significantly more than the 500 that is in my hand. Bad news also is we are going to drop you off
That
here.
is kind of bad news. It's almost worse news than not getting this money.
So I apologize, Jungle Man. It's been a lot of fun though.
Yeah, it was fun.
Hey, good luck today.
All right, thank you.
Get the out of my car.
All right.
Get out of my car. There he is, guys, Jungle Man. Bye-bye, Jungle Man.
Bye.
So, 888 ride, not successful today for Mr. Daniel Cates, AKA Jungle Man, but the guy's had a pretty good 2019. Many people I talked to say he might be the best poker player there is in the world right now. In an interview, somebody asked him what was it like to play the best. He was heads up with Phil Ivey once, and his response, why don't you ask Phil Ivey? Cates playing for a bracelet today, over $1 million. So I think it's going okay. Between that, the video, I think 2019 is working out okay for Daniel Cates, AKA Jungle Man. That's it for 888 Ride. Later, guys.
Live from this magnificent casino in beautiful Sochi. And that's our feature table for you right now. We're going to play 3,000, 6,000 blinds with a 6K. Big blind ante. Big spread of chip stacks from Korochensky, who was unlucky to get 2 pair and get really badly damaged by that stack. All the way up to Vershinin, who brought 800k to the table and has only continued to make chips. We're going to watch the rest of the play today, which is just one more level, so one more hour of the stream today. It's possible we'll make the money. 101 players remain, 80 make the money, and I'm afraid Daria Fashenko has left the broadcast, which means that this commentary stream is now much less charming. Just got me. I'm not known for my charm. Not sure what I'm known for. Englishness. I think that's it. I am very grateful of your company, and I really hope you'll enjoy this stream. It's been entertaining to watch. We've seen some wide open poker, very splashy stuff. As Dario was telling us, that is poker in Russia. So hopefully we'll keep that level of entertainment going all the way through to the end. You'll be able to follow this tournament and also the high roller from here in Sochi. We'll keep you updated with that. Daria and Sphere Lovgren, the other 888 ambassador, who both are still alive in the high roller. So we'll keep you posted on that one and maybe even bring you some action on future days. For now, with exactly 10 big blinds, Korochensky gets us off and running with an all-in shove, and he'll hope for some action with his ace-king. Now, even more importantly than all that, the free roll is coming up at the top of the hour. So that's 10 o'clock Sochi time. I feel like there's a video in Sochi time. Tiffany, get on it. And 8 o'clock GMT is our free roll. You can get in. It's completely free. If you don't have an 888 account, what a time to get one and join the free roll. You just go to the restricted tournaments tab, seek out the 888 Poker Live daily free roll. The password is 888 poker, and you can play for your share of some free bucks. So fun and free money. Tell me where else you can get that tonight. Actually, don't tell me, it's going to be sordid, isn't it? But the free roll is right there for you. You can even play while watching the stream and increase your enjoyment. There will be a free roll tomorrow and Thursday, always at the same time. You'll have to check in with me on the stream in order to get the password. My name is Nick Wealthall. Great to talk to you. My Twitter handle is @NickWealthall if you want to get in touch about anything, as long as you're nice. And if you've got any suggestions for the stream or any questions about poker here in Sochi, I'll be happy to help you out. Vershinin, our chip leader at the table, who can't be far off the chip lead in the tournament, closing in on 1 million chips. He hasn't lost too many hands since he came here. He might lose this one though, because the short stack Korochensky picks up a bigger pair. And in goes the money. And an instant call, I think that was. I think he tossed a chip in. One chip means a call in live poker if you haven't played it before. And we'll have a pair over pair situation, somewhere around an 80-20. 81-19 in this specific occurrence. And Korochensky survives the flop and the turn. 2 outs on the river, neither arrive. In fact, he boats up. An extra lady. Always a pleasure, never a chore. And Korochensky gets a much needed double up after being on the wrong end of a big pot just before the break. Vershinin loses a hand. He's probably forgotten what that's like. That's what that does to the chip counts at this table. Korochenski's still a little short stack, but out of immediate danger. He's got that moving stack. And the sort of low 20s big blinds, I think, does separate players a little bit. So professional players will actively look for spots where they can reshove or squeeze shove or you know, try and not get too short stacked. Whereas you will see recreational players, especially live, they don't like to take those reshoving spots, the kind of 16, 17 big blinds up to about 25 or so big blinds where you shove over an opening raise. That is one of the things that I think that is a big separator between professional players and recreational players. Just because recreational players don't like making that kind of all-in commitment with a bigger stack, especially live. And you can understand that, you know, maybe they've travelled to the tournament or whatever and they don't want to jeopardise their tournament unless they absolutely have to, but it is something that a lot of players should be looking to do more. Versionin is opening most of the times it's folded to him. He has the big chips, he wants to use them, and him and Korochenski have now played quite a few pots together. Looks like there'll be another one here. The Versionin's been opening so much that Korochenski knows that his ace-jack is miles in front of Versionin's range here. And this is the exact spot I was talking about where he has 20, I think he had 24 big blinds, is that right? We just came off the graphic, something like that. And by far the easiest and most correct play here is just to shove. He's just going to pick up the pot a huge amount of the time, and when he doesn't just pick up the pot, he often has the best hand, and when he doesn't have the best hand, he still has equity, and this is I think less good with this stack. Like, it's probably still fine in a vacuum because, you know, he has a playable hand, but he puts himself in a situation where he has to make marginal decisions, and he can also end up folding the best hand because Versionin has position and he's aggressive and so on. So I think this is something interesting that another interesting aspect to making these all-in shoves is that they actually make poker easier. So yes, you are, in quotes, jeopardizing your tournament when you do it, but you're also taking yourself out of these marginal situations. Because if you put yourself in Korochenski's position now, he's short stacked. He only has less than 2 SPI. He has less than 2 pot size bets left. And now he's folded the best hand. So, and I'm not, you know, judging his play or anything like that. I'm just using it as an example of why shoving there just makes poker so much easier and is better, and, you know, especially against a wide opener who's also aggressive like Versionin. It's just gonna make you money.
Raise 20. Pass.
Dechev raises, which if you've been watching the stream this evening, you'll know he does that a decent amount. Pachuin with the big hand has 24 big blinds, so yeah, a shoving stack, especially with that fat raise up front from Dechev. Dechev likes to be in action, we know that, having watched him. But does he like to be in action for this many chips? You'd suspect he'll call, given his history at this table. But he doesn't. That's what we were talking about with Daria. It's with players that that play unpredictably. You know, it gets hard to. Well, they're unpredictable, aren't they? The clue's in the title, so it's hard to know what they're going to do. I was going to say, yes, Nick. That's what unpredictable means. We've got that one. Thanks. 3K, 6K blinds, giving you those big blinds here in Sochi. We're under 100 players fighting for this $82,000 first prize. Their share of $500,000 main event prize pool. $1 million guaranteed for this festival here in Sochi. And there are much worse places to bust tournaments, I can tell you. As Dario was saying, Sochi is absolutely beautiful and tons of activities here to do. It's a winter sports town. In the winter, but it's pretty beautiful in the summer. And the casino lives up to it. Really stunning casino. Great venue for us. And if you didn't make it this time, make the effort to make it next time. It's a special one. This is going to be our final level tonight. I think we'll see some more entertaining pots before we close up shop. Konovalov with the big blind special. Top pair. After Bachev limped his blind. And Bachev can expect to have the best hand here, obviously, because Konovalov has 2 random cards in the big blind. But he doesn't call, that's interesting. I'd expected him to call one bet there with ace high. One of our players is away from the table. We're 8-handed, but right now we're 7. He makes it back. So 8 ways for this hand. I don't know if this is typical of the tournament right now, but there's been a really good spirit at this table. Players have really been enjoying themselves, as they should. Nothing better than going deep in a live event. Versionin, he likes to play hands. He makes it 3x with the 6-2 suited and runs into Stadoshkov's ace-queen. Something like 13 big blinds this shove, so I think Versionin's going to be able to safely fold even though he made it 3x. He does, and that's a great result for Stogolshikov, because he picks up 5.5 big blinds without risk. So that is significant, as you can see. Still our short stack, but a little bit less danger for him at the moment. Versionin doesn't care. He has 140 big blinds. Hard to care about anything when you have 140 big blinds, right? Deep into a tournament. We hit the money at 80 places. So as you can see, top right, 98 places, players left, 80 places paid. So we are getting close to the money. No sign of anyone tightening up yet. This has been real loosey-goosey stuff. We don't know Skholshikov's hand here. He must have not exposed his cards to the sensor, but he has been playing pretty tight and he's still pretty short stacked, so I think you can put him on a strong range for this open. And Cherniak will probably defend because obviously his hand's so strong and he's in the big blind and he only costs him 10k to call. He does defend. Queen high flop. And Cherniak will be ahead a decent amount of the time here. Now this, I think, if he leads out here, I think this is just playing the opponent. Skholshikov's looked a little bit tight, but also obviously he's a little bit short stacked with only 2 pot-sized bets left. So I think he thinks he can get Skholshikov to fold a lot of his hands, even like kind of, you know, smaller pocket pairs and bigger aces than Cherniak's and stuff like that. Like I think Skholshikov folds ace 10 here, just based on how he's been playing. But we'll see. We may never know what he has. It's like old school poker. When I started commentating, we didn't have whole card cams at all, so you didn't know what anybody had any of the time until they got to Showdown, which was good and bad. It was bad because obviously it was less fun to watch, so that was bad. From a commentating point of view, it was bad because you didn't know what anyone had, but the good side was you could just say anything. And most of the time, you wouldn't be proved right or wrong. You just say, yeah, I'm pretty confident he's got ace high here, and it wouldn't go to Showdown, because a lot of pots don't go to Showdown. Quick reminder, the free roll is going to start in about 10 minutes' time at the top of the hour. You can find it on 888poker. Go to the restricted tournaments tab. The password is 888poker and you can play for free money. You do not have to deposit any money to enter the tournament. It's completely free. That's why it's called a free roll. It is awesome. Go and have fun in that. You can still watch this at the same time. Different browser tabs, different needs. Let's not pull at that thread. And there'll be a free roll at this time tomorrow and also Thursday. So check back with the stream to get the password for those two. And there's also late registration for the free roll, so you can go and get your beverage of choice, register, chill out, and then jump in. Versionin is not letting up with the opens. And why would he? He has a ton of chips. Skholshikov, again, that phenomenon we were talking about of players not wanting to shove. He has less than, what did he start the hand with? 80, 96. So he has about 15 big blinds. And could have definitely shoved the king-queen suited there if Versionin's open because he's opening really wide. Interestingly, Deshev with the ace-king. Is that graphic correct? He just called on the button. A little bit deceptive there. And unfortunately, we don't get a more interesting flop because some fun possibilities, but not too much going on right here. Who wants to give this orphan pot a home? Now, Konovalov has a pretty decent image at this table. He showed down aces. I think he's only really shown down winners. He hasn't been super active, so I think a bet here is going to get some respect. Now, having said that, Dechev may just feel he has the best hand and he does like to play, so I'm not saying that he's going to get folds, but I think it's a sound bet from Konovalov. Okay, but he gets through the least likely person to fold. And Konovalov gives the orphan pot a home. Always a nice thing to do.
Красная кнопка. Две. А, две. Я же я макушку вижу. Я потом посмотрю. Что казино действует в Владивостоке?
Действует, но покерные столы закрыли, потому что не окупились. Ну, сначала там был кэш, потом сделали там, пытались заманить турнирными сериями, но народ так и не прошел.
Так кэш есть какой-то?
Не, ну Катраны
хочешь
только.
сказать, что?
Официально казино нет.
То есть рулетка, там автоматы, да?
Да,
ставлю
китайцы в
выполнять.
Бакару играют.
А то я уже
А где оно
в эту
находится,
сторону
в каком месте?
приехал. Ну,
Само казино где находится? Ну это как вот на
Ну,
Шамару.
вторая речка, первая речка.
Нет, дальше. Это как на Шамару ехать, ну вот на пляж.
Я понял, как в аэропорту.
Ну типа, да.
Plenty of table chat at our feature table. Like I said, it has been a really good atmosphere and spirit between the players. Been a lot of jokes and fun. Obviously, none of which I've understood. But if you're a Russian speaker, I'm sure it's been good.
В плане того, как построили, сделали очень неплохо.
Нет, специально казино построили?
Да, отдельно. Там как территорию выделили, там мы собирались и отели строить дополнительно.
Местная, Владивостокская или...
Вроде местно, да. А, ну инвесторы были, по-моему, из Гонконга.
Лучше казино в Сочи. Я тоже никогда
Много
не
где
видел.
был?
Ну, я много не был, но...
Ну, сейчас по плотности турниров...
We're in the last level here at Sochi, and we'll watch down to the close of play tonight. And then we'll be back with you tomorrow, where we'll cover most of the day. I think we're going to come in after the second break. So we should give you several hours of action tomorrow, which will be a lot of fun. You'll see a really good stage of the tournament in the money. And then the following day on the Thursday, we will show you the last two tables all the way down to a winner and a champion here in Sochi. So it's going to be fun. I hope you can make some or all of it. We'll also try and keep you updated with the high roller, Daria Fishenko, the newest 888 ambassador, who was with us on commentary. Hope you got to hear her. She was great. She's still in the high roller, as is Sophia Lovgren. So we'll keep you updated on that as well.
Нет, если бы иностранцы, допустим, свободно прилетали, то это уровень бы был Праги минимум. Но по количеству людей, турниров.
В плане вид, в смысле?
Konovalov with the 3-bet. So this is quite interesting because he's starting to make some more aggressive moves at this table. And his timing's good here because I don't think Bachuev can contest this pot. And he doesn't. So Konovalov on a serious upward trend.
Минутка нацев. Закончилось.
Молодец, так держать. Боевой товарищ.
Стараемся. Ну, морепродукты неплохие, да. Ну, сложно как их себе. Ну, там, где море, я говорю, где еще в России море?
Batuev with a chance to get back on the horse, though. Very pretty looking ace-king for him. $20 big blinds, which is always a slightly weird stack when you're up front. You can just go ahead and shove some hands, like, say you had pocket sevens or something like that. I think it's absolutely fine to shove, but Batuev just makes it 15k. And he gets some action. Our table chip leader, Versionin, will call him. Less excited about Pijuin's hand in the small blind. And I think he makes a solid fold. Korochenski, he's a thinker, isn't he? He does have a little think before taking his action. It seems like a reasonably straightforward call here. Yes, he's short stacked, but he's getting a great price from the big blind. So we will have 3 players to the flop. And an interesting one. Korochenski with the flush draw, Batuev with top pair. Versionin with a swing and a miss. Korochenski does have options here. He could lead out or do something funky. This is definitely something funky. He's just going to shove. He's going to be snapped by Batuev, I believe, who has almost the same stack. He looks really upset that he's been shoved into with top pair. Or maybe he's trying not to laugh. You should be happy. Fist pump call. There's another player in the pot, I guess. But Versionin quickly gets out of the way. So, Korochenski versus Batuev. Flush draw versus top pair. As you can see, Batuev wins this 63% of the time. Both players are more or less all in. We'll check exact stacks in a minute. Queen gives some more outs to Korochenski, but he misses on the river, and Batuev's ace-king will hold up, and this is a big pot for him. He's been pretty short-stacked to very short-stacked all day, and he finally gets what he wanted. He's really happy. He was happy when, if you remember, he won a much smaller pot, so he must be delighted right now. Unlucky for Korochenski. He was on the wrong end of some flops here. He had 2 pair in that big pot that lost. And now flush draw doesn't get there, and we'll say good night to him. Good run in the tournament. Batuev is loving his life. That's everything you want, right? You're semi-short stacked. You need to get something going, so you get given ace-king. You get 2 callers, and then one of them shoves into you when there's a top pair on the flop. Doesn't get much better than that in No Limit Hold'em. We're 8-handed for a while. As Batuev stacks some chips. Last call for the free roll, people. Last call for the free roll. It's starting right now. And there is late registration. I'm not quite sure how long for, but you don't want to mess around because there's chips to be won. Jump into the 888poker live daily free roll. You'll find it under the restricted tournaments tab on 888. The password is 888poker, 888poker. Play for some free money. As I mentioned before, it's your first chance to do that. You'll get another one tomorrow. and then another one on Thursday. But you do have to come. It's not the same password, all right? Not making this easy, giving you free money. Can't do everything for you. You need to come back on the stream, and I'll give you the password tomorrow and Thursday. Somewhere around 20 minutes more of play for you to watch today, and I still think we'll get in some action because these players are really playing loose, which is great for the stream. I don't know if it's great for their future in the tournament. That's up to them, but it's definitely good for the stream. We've seen some entertaining stuff. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've got two flush draws here, a gut shot for Versionin, but he's not going to continue. Dechev is a nut flush draw. Stakoshkov has a gut shot as well. And pair outs, as you can see on the screen. So, although his flush isn't good, he's not completely dead here. Of course, he doesn't know that Dechev has a bigger flush draw. So, without knowing, and with a short stack, it's hard to see how he doesn't get his money in here one way or the other. And in it goes. Dechev will call, I think, just checking myself, because I keep saying ahead of time, especially Dechev, what he's going to do, and he's unpredictable, as we mentioned. He does call, and Dechev's going to be a favourite to knock out Stakoshkov, but he has outs, as you can see on the screen. 10s, 9s and 7s are his friend. But any heart kills the... that's not quite true, is it? Straight flush draws. King of Diamonds is a brick. Jack of Clubs is a brick, as far as Stakoshkov is concerned. Dechev will win the pot with ace high, and Stakoshkov, after stubborn resistance, will go out just short of the money here in Sochi. Dechev stacking chips. We're not quite going to make the money tonight. If you're a short stack out there in the main event hall, you're going to have to hang on overnight, I think, to find out whether you make the money or not. Hey, you can tell your loved ones that you made day 3, which is, you know, especially if they don't play poker, it sounds amazing. Did you make any money? That's not the important thing. The important thing is I survived a long time and made day 3. If you're just joining us, then I'm afraid you don't have much entertainment left. We'll be here for about another 20 minutes till the end of this level, but lots more poker to come tomorrow and the day after as we watch this tournament down to the conclusion. We think there's 92 players in the field remaining, 569 entries here in Sochi. We have $500,000 in the prize pool with 82,000 for first, so significant money. Imagine getting paid $82,000 to play poker in a casino as nice as this. Casino Sochi really is a stunner. If you've never been here, then make the effort, because it's a really special casino in a really cool town. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it tomorrow during the day before joining you for the stream. I think sometime in the late afternoon we'll be back on. Versionin has played one way since he came to this feature table, and that's to raise and fire and make things happen. That's how you get 800,000 chips, as Dario was saying. That's how you get to be chip leader. Now, Bachuev has chips for the first time. He doesn't have tons and tons of chips, but he's been really short stacked all day. So he's going to be enjoying actually playing some poker. You know that feeling when you actually get away from being super short. And he flops a flush draw. Versionin flops what you usually flop with 7-3 offsuit, which is a draw to a 7 or a 3. He also has a gut shot. Versioning bets 20k. Just a little stab. Actually, it was half pot, wasn't it? So, standard continuation stuff. And Bachev can... Well, we know he's not going to fold, so he can call or raise here. Don't mind check raising there, but call's fine, and much better when you hit the flush. Immediate service, as they used to call it in the London casino I played at. Immediate service on the turn. Now Versioning will probably bluff again. Because, wow, this is like a... Is he really putting that in? That's a huge bet. I can't explain that one, viewers. He's made tons of small bluffs and small value bets post-flop. And now suddenly he wants to bet 140k into 80k. Bachev with an award-winning acting performance. Oh, my life is terrible. I can't believe I've been put under pressure when I have the virtual nuts. He goes all in. And I mean, that's a signal for Versioning. I mean, it's totally fine to keep bluffing there. It's a good bluffing card, and he also has outs. Against some of Bachev's range, and that's all fine, but why he just suddenly bet so much? Maybe he's just trying to get, you know, one pair and I don't know. Weak one pairs to fold, right? He's just trying to, I suppose, he feels like he needs to bet a lot to do that, but it's blown up in his face, and unfortunately for Versioning, I think this pot is going to make it harder for him to get to sleep. He was going to have a great night's sleep thinking, I've got all the monies, but this one is going to sting a little bit. He has to give up a face-saving pause. He has to give up. And Bachev, if you've been watching all evening, this is what No Limit Hold'em tournaments can be. He was down at, you forgive me, I don't remember exactly how low he got, but he was the short stack at the table. I think he was under 10 big blinds at one point. And now he's going to have a very different feeling when he bags his chips at the end of play. I like how Cherniak's played. When we started the stream, he was a chip leader at the table. He lost a couple of pots before winning that pot with the nut straight, but he thinks about his decisions, and he's looked pretty solid to me. Here he opens with Queen 10 suited. And Bachev has called, is that right? Yeah. And so both blinds call, three-way to the flop. It's funny how poker goes, right? I mean, he was literally under 10 big blinds, and now he can't miss. He's got over 400,000, and he's like, poker's easy. I'll just flop the straight with the straight flush redraw. No problem. That's why it's so important to keep your patience and discipline when you go short stacked in a tournament, because in No Limit Hold'em it can turn so fast. Like Bachev's been on the real roller coaster, but it's gone amazing for him. Now the turn card is obviously not as good. Means that anyone with a 9 is chopping with him. He still has the diamond draw. Not too much reason for Konovalov to continue here, but Cherniak has overcards and a flush draw and position. And it's only 25k, so he's at least going to call here. Not completely impossible he'd think about raising, because Bachaev just checked the flop, and he could have almost anything, right? I mean, he could be trying to steal it. Could be a weak bet with a, you know, a one player plus draw type hand. So I don't hate a raise here. And that's exactly what we get. He sees it the same way I do. 81, he says. Now, it's interesting that Bachaev quickly calls there. For those of you interested in timing tells, there aren't that many hands that he can quickly call. Like, it sort of eliminates the strongest hands from his range, because wouldn't he have to think about what he wanted to do with those? He does have a made straight, of course. So maybe that gives the lie to that. This is hard for Cherniak, because we can see that he can't win unless he bluffs. He may get sucked into bluffing. There's a lot of money out there to win, 200k. And if Bachaev was drawing here, obviously he bricked. Or if he had a pair plus a draw, which he can have quite a lot of because he just called in the small blind. It's hard not to bluff here, man. And we can see it's not going to work, but I have a lot of sympathy for a bluff in this spot. Everything missed on the river. He raised the turn. He's representing a strong hand. Like, he's representing, like, you know, the hand Bachaev, like a hand similar to the one Bachaev has. And we know it's not going to work, but I think it's a good bet. I'm interested to see how big he makes it. Unfortunately, he's going to get called really quickly, but that's one of those bluffs that I think, like, obviously it looks bad because he's just been snapped off and lost it quickly. And like, he bet 67, which is a little bit small, but then the hands he's trying to get Bachaev to fold are pretty weak hands, really. You know, misdraws, weak one pair hands, maybe some weak two pair hands, I guess. Although they're not going to fold as much. But I think that's a good bluff. Just didn't work. What can you do? Bachaev has gone from... Now, I think he had 7 or 8 big blinds. My memory may be wrong, but he was very short stacked. And he's gone to that many big blinds, 104. Amazing. Up to over 600,000. So we're closing in on the end of play here in Sochi in the main event. I'm not quite sure exactly how many hands we have left, but it'll be ending pretty soon. But we will be back with you tomorrow. I've just checked, and we're going to come back after the first break tomorrow. So they will hit the money probably in that time, almost certainly. And we'll be in the money when we come back. Now, I think we're going to come back around about 2:30 tomorrow Sochi time, which is 2:30 midday. So quit your job and watch the stream with me. Don't quit your job. Don't say I said quit your job. It's a joke. Unless you hate your job, in which case you should have quit already, and this is a great excuse. But I'm not saying for you to do that. We've got a bit more action to come before we sign off for the night. Dechev with sevens, and he's going to have the best hand on this flop a lot of the time. Especially against Vershinin, who's been opening any time someone says it's your action, sir. Raise, did you look? I raise.
Bet 50.
And Dechev does like to bet when he hits it. Actually, weirdly, he likes to bet 50k a lot. He was betting 50k when it was a absolutely monster bet. Now it's just a slightly too big bet, and he's still rocking the 50Ks. Vershinin folds his bottom pair. It's a pretty disciplined fold, but then it was a big bet, I guess. So the tournament director with some information, presumably about how many hands are left. The story of our feature table in this last hour has been Batchev's rise from being crippled to being the chip leader at the feature table. Less than 10 big blinds, up to over 100 big blinds. And you probably just heard we're going to play the last three hands before we all go off to Betty Bibo land. Not really, no one's going to sleep. It's only like 10:30 here in Sochi, and there's a whole casino, hotel complex, many, many ways for you to have fun. Let's see if we get any decisive action in these last three hands. No one can accuse the players of slowing down for the end of the day or the money bubble. It has been very loose here, but we were talking with Daria Fishenko earlier, and she was telling us that's Russian poker, so it's good. It's what we want. Nikolaev, new player to the table. He will only be here on your screens for a short while. Same with Nikolshin. Now, Vershinin has continued to open raise, almost like, kind of standard tactics at towards the end of a day or towards a money bubble where players might be getting tighter. It's just that people aren't actually playing tighter. Maybe they are now that it's last three hands, everyone wants to make the end. Maybe they are. Because his raise is going to take it, and we haven't seen many raise and take it's, have we? Bit of action to end level, and Vershinin just trying to buy pots, isn't he, as we close in on the end of play. Opening everything, but he's run into a real hand here. Easy 3-bet for Nikolshin. think that's going to end it. Got to be careful, you never know. So we think there are 88 players left in the field and there are 80 spots paid. So like I said, spare a thought for the short stacks. This doesn't often happen this close to the money bubble, but there's going to be some short stacks going to bed tonight, not knowing whether they're going to cash or not. I suppose it's exciting, right? Cliffhanger. I make this the last hand of our feature table tonight. Let's see if we get any action. Since the 3 hands announcements, the first time we've seen the players go like tight and fold quickly. Baccio is going to bank his win. What a night it's been for him. Going from short stack to 600k. Konovalov gets a real hand. They're forcing him to play. Always have mixed feelings, right? I'd rather not bust on the last hand of day 2. He thinks. You see the quick ace 10 fold, that's a real end of day 2 fold, right? I'm not interested. Versionin, however, will defend. And we'll see one last flop. Huh. Pocket jack, see an overcard. He gets 41% of the time. Oh, but they rarely see a turned jack. Beautiful card for Konovalov on the turn. And I don't know why he wouldn't raise here, really. I mean, there's a ton of hands that Versionin could continue with here. Ton of draws. You know, a lot going on. I think a turn raise was more than fine there. And now he just has to call. So he does just call. And he's going to be happy with his result. Versionin has... oh, excuse me, the 7. Ah, yeah. And we end the day with a missed call from Nick. Classic. Always nice to end on a complete boo-boo. The 7 played and I didn't even see it. Unlucky Konovalov, he had to call, doesn't change what he should have done. And he will bag 59 big blinds. That's what our feature table players will go home with. They put their chips in a bag. And they wait until tomorrow to actually cash this event. That's going to happen while we're off air. We're going to join you after the first break tomorrow. We think round about 2:45, somewhere around there, we'll be on air. That's Sochi time. So 12:45 GMT. Until then, I look forward to bringing you more from this fantastic location here in Sochi. We will see you for more feature table action, main event, and we hope high roller as well. Until then, I'm Nick Wealthall, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.